So the theme of the conference is globalization, the good, the bad and the ugly. The reasoning for this is partly the organizer, which is the city of Oslo, City of Peace, it's the Oslo Chamber of Commerce, it's the World Trade Center and this Business for Peace Foundation. We try to raise the attention to three aspects where business has meaning: political and ideological conflict. It's the opportunity in poverty, not only the moral dilemma, and it's the limits that climate is currently giving us.
So many papers, huh? Three, okay.
Runa, what am I signing here?
It's okay. The signing paper was a cooperation between the Peace Channel and the World Trade Center TV, where we own, and so in this case we combined the world trade with the peace, what is in our logo, peace and stability to trade, and we signed this agreement this morning in public.
Peace Channel is a new window we open in September. We will gradually build and strengthen that window with content, and it's a TV on the internet focusing on the needs of the bottom billions and others who are struggling for survival in different corners on the planet.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Fabian Stang and I'm the Mayor of Oslo. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the Oslo Conference on Peace and Trade here in Oslo City Hall.
We live in exciting times, and globalization seems to be causing most of the excitement. Globalization is a combination of economic, technological, cultural and political forces, and it has made us all international players.
The reason for choosing this subject was twofold. Firstly, we are a member of one of the world's largest business organizations, World Chambers Network, who has 12,000 chambers worldwide. Secondly, that globalization is one of the most important issues being discussed in our time.
Obviously, peace and stability stimulate business, but it is also the other way around. Business and trade stimulate peace and stability. The relationship is interlinked and self-reinforcing. More business, more peace. Less peace, less business. This is the core of the World Trade Center Association's vision, and also the inspiration for establishing the Business for Peace Foundation.
Our keynote speaker is a leading musician, world leader, campaigner, activist, truth teller, the man behind the Live 8 concerts that woke up the world to Africa. I'm proud to present Sir Bob Geldof.
In my case, I've seen what a lack of trade will do. The benefit of prosperity is peace, and peace is the benefit comes from prosperity. If we're poor, we fight over the few resources we have in order to survive. If we're wealthy, there's plenty to go around. In fact, it's detrimental to fight each other. The great political paradigm for the 21st century must be cooperation rather than competition. And politicians perhaps have understood the lesson of trade itself, which can only exist in conditions of cooperation. The first time it sort of struck me that we are living in this joined-up world of mutual dependence rather than codependence, which is perhaps a dangerous thing, was back in the 1980s when I turned on the television one night and saw something that put whatever small problems I had in my life into a shocking perspective. I saw 30 million people dying of hunger in Africa. Now, it was an unusual event, because it was the BBC 6 o'clock television news, and normally, like the news here, you have a 3-minute story. They gave it 10 minutes. And the journalist hardly spoke. He let the camera show you what was happening to other human beings who exist 8 miles from the continent of Europe, the richest continent ever seen in the history of our planet, us, lucky us, coexisting with the poorest continent on the planet.
Because despite the fact that a lot of that fossil energy is produced in the Middle East and is exported from the Middle East, that fuels the rapid growth in China and India, as well as the rapid gas-guzzling desires and appetites in Europe and America, the Middle East is a victim of globalization. And globalization has not been able to resolve the core issue in the Middle East, and that is the issue of Palestine and Palestinian-Israeli peace.
2/3 of the global population are now living in a democracy. And if China could be transferred to democracy, that would mean that 9 out of 10 citizens in the world would live in a democracy. And I strongly believe, and I will try to prove it, almost try to prove it, that this is the condition. If you want to start a good development for people, it almost always starts with democracy, and China is maybe the exception from this. Now, there is a very, very important connection, because democracies usually don't fight other democracies.
The European Union is the largest protection racket in history. Al Capone would be very proud of the European Union.
Okay.
One last point to my classically American friend, and I mean that with the greatest compliment. You don't need God to have a sense of morality. He didn't invent it, humans did. Elephants don't have a sense of morality, humans did. God made elephants, they don't have it. So it's a human attribute, okay?
Globalization is associated to a number of economic theories and conceptions: neoliberalism, market economy, free trade and investment, deregulation, and so forth. It is a drawing together of the world as a reduction in barriers and the creation of a global society in which people, goods, services, and ideas circulate freely and easily, benefiting all.
The increasing influence of the Chinese economy on the world market does not necessarily lead to cultural and political tensions or a threat to the Western democracies.
Google, which many of you think of as a simple search engine, is in many ways becoming the chief editor of the web. What that means is that when you as a user go to Google and search, you typically read what comes on top of the Google search results. And what comes on top of the Google search result is exclusively decided by Google and their algorithms, which means they are effectively taking us to the information that they decide and their algorithms decide.
Now, what is happening, of course, lately in the news, if you see the Iraq problem, it has not been solved, actually. And it's a problem for everybody. The Afghanistan problem has not been solved. You see what's happening in Pakistan is a mess, and so on. So all these are not easy subject. But what you see, actually, the news which are reporting, they are reporting the extremes. They are not reporting the general opinion of the people or people. You have always a silent majority which are satisfied and happy and very tolerant.
Today's themes are trade as an instrument of peace, and the way that globalization can foster or can threaten both trade and peace. Increased use of fossil fuels has driven the expansion of global trade, the global growth, the poverty reduction to which you referred, Jan, this morning. But carbon-dependent growth, which is improving the lives of millions around the world today, is destroying their tomorrow.
So hybrid technology, utilizing new drivetrains and utilizing electricity, is one of the solutions forward. Provided, though, that you have electricity that is carbon dioxide neutral.
Aviation is a major contributor to economic prosperity. That's the good. And similarly, with all transportation infrastructure, it has an environmental footprint. That's the bad, and perhaps the ugly. We recognize that pollution and climate change represent serious environmental challenges.
You also said you had the oldest fleet of cars in the world,
that's why
and also you're transporting all the time. So
we are taxed so much that we can't afford to buy new ones. No, there are ways. I could also argue that Volvo makes so damn good cars, so it's no use to change them.
I warmly welcome this initiative. Meetings like this are great opportunities to unite representatives from authorities, corporations, and organizations from several corners of the world, and I'm proud to have been a part of such a gathering. It is in inspiring surroundings we are meeting today. We are in the hall of the Nobel Peace Prize, in the place where this prize is awarded annually. As you all know, among the winners of the latest years are the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change and Al Gore in 2007, and Wangari Maathai in 2004, all honored for their efforts in the work against climate change. If all states are given the chance to join world trade on equal terms, there are reasons to believe that they will be less interested in fighting each other. The ongoing negotiations for a WTO agreement are an attempt to include the world's poorest nations and people into globalization. Let's hope for their success. Thank you.